Like you, these federal employees never imagined they would need FEDS protection, a professional liability insurance policy. Hi, I'm Tony Vergnetti, the president and founder of FEDS. As a former federal employee and attorney who defended federal officials in private practice, I founded FEDS on a platform of education because I believe that professional liability insurance is no longer something to simply consider. It's a necessity for all federal managers. For instance, all of these federal managers on this slide never thought they would need the policy, but sure were happy they had it in place when they needed it. Many federal managers are surprised to learn that agencies are required to reimburse up to half the cost of a professional liability insurance policy. And the reason Congress passed this law is because good conduct does not prevent federal managers and supervisors from being accused of wrongdoing or being sued. And while you may be ultimately vindicated, the process of accomplishing such vindication can easily cost you tens of thousands of your own dollars if you do not have a PLI policy in place. So this is really an employee benefit that you should be taking advantage of. You wouldn't leave your 3% TSP match on the table. You shouldn't leave this benefit on the table either. There are three basic coverage areas for any PLI policy: civil, administrative, and criminal. Most federal employees are aware of the civil liability protections and indemnity protections offered by the policy, and we will touch upon that in a moment. However, you as a federal executive or manager need to be particularly aware of the administrative provisions of the FEDS policy, because this is the coverage you need for most of the complaints and allegations that will be made against you. For any of these administrative or disciplinary matters, you would be assigned an attorney to represent you throughout any investigation and defend you in any resulting personnel action taken against you. Two special kinds of investigations I want to quickly highlight are EEO and Office of Special Counsel investigations, or whistleblower retaliation investigations. Managers and supervisors are especially vulnerable to these kinds of complaints, strictly due to the nature of their jobs. And particularly that is the case if they are managing a problem employee who is complaint happy. With regard to EEO complaints, most of these complaints against managers are resolved with no real harm to the manager. And at the end of the day, they are cases financially against the agency and not you personally. However, sometimes the agency's interests and yours are not completely aligned, and the agency attorney represents the agency's interests, not yours personally. So this is where a FEDS policy comes in. It provides you your own attorney to defend during the EEO investigation without any agency influence. And for the OSC investigations, you are completely on your own to defend. Agency lawyers will not represent you. The next coverage area is for civil lawsuits against you personally. So you don't have absolute immunity for these personal capacity lawsuits like you do for lawsuits under the Federal Tort Claims Act. So the FEDS policy will pay a judgment entered against you for one of these lawsuits if you are found to be liable. It will pay up to the $1 or $2 million limit, depending upon which policy you choose. More importantly, a FEDS policy will appoint and pay for your legal counsel if the Department of Justice declines to represent you for this personal capacity lawsuit. And that most often happens if you are being investigated for misconduct for the very same reason that you are being sued. DOJ will not want to be on both sides of that. So again, the policy pays for damages and defends when DOJ declines. The final coverage area is for criminal investigations. Now, I know most federal employees are not coming to work intending on committing a crime, but you have to understand that there is very little you can do wrong in the federal government and not have it also be a violation of Title 18, which is the criminal code. There are plenty of crimes on the books where intent is not an element of the crime, such as conflict of interest statutes. And moreover, the investigative entity that is often conducting these employee investigations are the Office of Inspector General. And IGs are criminal investigators first, and they like to make cases against federal officials because they feel they are setting an example for the rest of the government. So it does happen, and it could happen to you, no matter how good your intentions are. So this slide summarizes the three basic coverage areas, but I want to talk cost. For only $290 annually, or the $145 it costs you after the agency reimbursement, FEDS Protection provides coverage for these administrative, civil, and criminal exposures. Talk to your HR representative or contact us for more information on the reimbursement process. FEDS also offers payroll deduction, which starts at about $12 per pay period as a payment method. The hardest phone calls we receive here at FEDS are those from employees who don't have FEDS protection in place because they never, ever thought they would need an insurance policy to pay for an attorney to defend a job-related action or decision. The time to buy your insurance is not after the National Weather Service names the hurricane. Attorneys are expensive. FEDS protection is not. As a matter of fact, FEDS coverage for a year is less than the $300 or $400 per hour you are going to pay just for 1 hour for an attorney if you need one. It takes less than 5 minutes to get enrolled, so go to www.fedsprotection.com or call us at 866-955-FEDS.